While everyone's screaming about London's housing market collapsing, something bizarre just happened. The Mayor of London, in a closed-door meeting with City Hall officials, accidentally revealed the real reason the capital's property market is falling apart. And it's nothing like what you've heard on the news. See, the mainstream story is simple: prices went too high, buyers disappeared, and interest rates crushed the market. But that's a convenient lie. What's unfolding in London right now is a perfect storm that nobody saw coming. And the leaked details from that meeting expose a system collapsing from the inside out. This isn't just about high rates, it's about a silent, four-part reckoning that has destroyed confidence in the city's most sacred asset. So what's really happening? Why are Londoners being forced to sell their homes? And what does the mayor know that we don't? Let's start with the trigger that began this entire domino effect. London's population boom didn't slow down. It reversed. The numbers are genuinely shocking. For decades, London was unstoppable. Every packed tube carriage, every bidding war over a semi-detached in Zone 3, told the same story: people were flooding in and demand could never die. But that story just broke. According to new data, London lost more than 100,000 residents in 2024 alone, marking the sharpest population drop in over a decade. This isn't a blip, it's the start of a deep migration shift. Families are fleeing to Kent, Surrey, and Essex, anywhere that isn't charging $2,000 per month for a one-bedroom flat. Young professionals are heading north to Manchester and Leeds, where they can actually afford to buy instead of rent forever. Even high-income earners are calling it quits, trading cramped terraces for detached homes in Hertfordshire. The entire foundation of London's housing boom, relentless inward migration, is cracking. Even worse, the once reliable safety net of foreign demand is quietly collapsing. International buyers, who once made up nearly $40% of prime central London sales, have now fallen below $20%. New restrictions, tougher tax rules, and global political shifts have made London less attractive to overseas cash. Chinese buyers, once dominant in luxury developments, have pulled back sharply. Middle Eastern investors are diverting money to Dubai. European buyers are now favoring Paris and Lisbon, where transaction taxes are lower and yields are higher. That drop in foreign appetite has created a silent void in the high-end segment. When top-end demand weakens, it ripples downward, because the people selling million-pound homes are often the ones buying $600,000 homes, and so on. When the top slows, the entire ladder freezes. The irony is brutal. Londoners blamed foreign investors for pricing them out, but now those same investors are gone, and prices are still falling because the system was built on that constant inflow. Once you take that away, all that's left is an over-leveraged market. But that wasn't the whole story. The system was about to be hit by a far more dangerous, internal financial threat. The exodus is only half the battle, because for those who stayed, a ticking time bomb is about to detonate, and it has nothing to do with migration. It's hidden inside millions of London mortgages that are about to reset all at once. Remember buying your London home back in 2019 for $600,000? At the time, your bank offered you a 5-year fixed rate at a buttery smooth $1.7%. It felt like free money. You told yourself, by the time this fix ends, my salary will be higher, my home will be worth more, and I'll refinance easily. That was the dream. But in 2025, that dream is turning into a financial nightmare. That same mortgage is now resetting at $5.8%, effectively doubling your monthly payment. More than $1.6 million UK households are in this exact boat, and a massive portion of them are in London, where loan sizes are the biggest and debt-to-income ratios are stretched to the limit. Consider a homeowner in Croydon with a $400,000 loan. They are now paying around $200 per month compared to $200 just a year ago. That's an extra $1,000 leaving their pocket every single month. And wages haven't kept up. The average London salary rose less than $3% in the past year, with inflation eating that before it even hit the bank account. This is the part no one's talking about. London doesn't crash because of unemployment or oversupply. It crashes when middle-class households can't roll over their debt. The Bank of England's base rate hikes ripped through the mortgage market like a silent shockwave, and those fixed periods are now expiring by the hundreds of thousands each month. The cheap era of $1% dollar mortgages is gone, replaced by $5% dollar to $6% dollar rates for the foreseeable future. Mortgage brokers across London are quietly warning that the capital is about to face a forced seller wave. Not foreclosures, but voluntary exits before the cliff hits. Families are calling their agents saying, "We need to list before our fix ends." They're trying to escape before the full reset crushes them. And when sellers flood the market at the same time, you don't get panic, you get paralysis. Buyers see the wave coming and they wait. Sellers keep listing, hoping to beat the next guy out the door. The irony is, the government's own relief schemes, like temporary interest-only extensions, are just delaying the inevitable until 2026, when the real pain begins. Even rental investors aren't immune. Buy-to-let landlords saw repayments jump $60% dollar to $80% dollar, leading thousands of small owners to sell up because renting no longer makes financial sense. And while homeowners were drowning in debt, the government was quietly rewriting the rulebook on property ownership. Just when homeowners thought higher mortgage payments were their biggest problem, London hit them with something worse, a policy storm they never saw coming. While people are scraping together every last pound to stay afloat, the government has been rewriting the rules of property ownership, making it a target. Let's start with the one word that makes every London homeowner's stomach drop: tax. Reports leaked from the Treasury hinted at a plan to overhaul council tax bans, the first major update since the 1990s. Under the new framework, properties valued above £1.5 million could face double the council tax of ordinary homes. That's an extra $4,000 to $6,000 a year just for owning a home that might not even feel like luxury by London standards. This isn't limited to Mayfair. A semi-detached in Wandsworth or Ealing easily crosses the threshold, meaning ordinary middle-class families are suddenly being taxed like oligarchs. Then came the brutal stamp duty charges. For anyone buying or selling above $500,000, the tax bill is crushing. On a $900,000 home, you're handing over nearly $36,000 in stamp duty, money you will never see again. That single fee alone can kill a sale before it even starts. Now add the changes to capital gains tax. For decades, property investors counted on generous relief when selling, but those days are over. Since 2024, the government slashed allowances drastically, with whispers of total abolition by 2026. For second homeowners or buy-to-let landlords, that's the final nail. Sell now and pay, or wait and pay even more later. The message is clear: London property is no longer a tax haven. It's a target. Even landlords, once considered untouchable, are being squeezed from every side. Mortgage interest relief cuts mean most small landlords now pay tax on gross rent, not profit. Add higher interest rates, and many are effectively working for free. A landlord in Hackney admitted, "I used to make £500 profit per month. Now after tax, I lose $200 per month." Thousands like him are rushing to sell before the next budget closes more loopholes. Every one of those landlord exits adds another for sale board on the street. The financial squeeze is brutal, but taxes aren't the only silent killer here. London is also facing a wave of new, mandatory regulatory costs that are driving owners out. The biggest is the Energy Performance Certificate (EPC) mandate. By 2028, every rental property must meet a minimum EPC rating of C. That sounds green and progressive until you look at the real-world cost. Upgrading an old Victorian terrace to meet the minimum standard can cost between $15,000 and $25,000. For flats and pre-war conversions, it's even worse. We're talking new insulation, double glazing, rewiring, and heat pump installations. Many landlords simply can't afford that kind of capital outlay, especially after their mortgage costs soared, so they're listing now rather than spend a small fortune just to keep renting. This rush of landlord sales adds fresh supply to a market already drowning in inventory. Even homeowners who live in their properties aren't safe. A leaked briefing from City Hall warned that older homes could face resale penalties within the decade if they don't meet stricter energy standards. That means the value of character homes, the very ones London is famous for, could plummet unless they're retrofitted. It's a hidden, non-financial tax on older property that few buyers are currently factoring in. Then there's inheritance tax, which hits harder in London than anywhere else. The threshold hasn't changed in years, yet the average home in the capital sits well above it. Ordinary families are being taxed on inherited houses like they're luxury estates. A Southwark resident who lost her parents put it bluntly, they worked their whole lives for this flat. Now I have to sell it just to pay the inheritance bill. The ripple effect of all this is brutal. Rising taxes and mandatory costs push owners to sell. More listings push prices down. Falling prices scare buyers away. And the cycle feeds itself. In the middle of all this, the mayor's office reportedly admitted something astonishing during that closed-door meeting: we've lost control of incentives. Every new policy we introduce makes it harder, not easier, to own in London. When your own government is warning that the system's incentives are broken, that's not a policy debate. That's an admission of collapse. Because it's not just about paying more, it's about trusting less. Londoners once believed property was the safest investment on earth. Now, every headline feels like another trap, another reason to wonder whether holding on is worth it. Something strange is happening in London's market right now. It's not a crash. It's silence. Estate agents across the city describe it the same way: it's like the buyers disappeared overnight. Open houses that once had queues down the street now sit empty. Flats that used to sell in 48 hours now sit on the market for months. And even when buyers do show up, they're not offering anywhere near the asking price. So, what happened? Why are buyers suddenly refusing to play the game that built London's housing empire? The answer starts with confidence, or rather, the lack of it. For decades, buying in London wasn't about need. It was about belief. People believed prices would always rise. Buyers believed they could always sell to someone richer later. That belief made people borrow more, stretch harder, and push prices higher. But in 2025, that belief died. After 2 years of interest rate hikes, inflation shocks, and broken promises, Londoners no longer trust the system that told them property was a guaranteed win. The numbers prove it. Buyer demand across London is down $42% compared to last year. Listings are up $18% but completed sales are down nearly $30%. That means sellers are trying to unload homes faster than buyers are willing to take them, the classic setup for a freeze. Mortgage approvals have fallen to their lowest point since 2008. The average London property now takes $66 days to sell, up from just $28 days in 2021. This isn't just about affordability, it's about psychology. Buyers aren't broke, they've gone on strike, waiting for prices to fall another $5%, $10%, maybe $20%. As one agent in Islington put it, everyone's waiting for everyone else to panic first. It's a standoff and no one wants to make the first move. But here's the dark twist: while ordinary buyers are stepping back, a new kind of buyer is quietly moving in. Institutional money, big funds, private equity firms, and developers are preparing to scoop up discounted properties. Once the freeze reaches its peak, they're patient. They've got cash. And they know exactly what's coming. Data shows bulk purchases by corporate landlords have risen $38% since mid-2024. Entire blocks of flats are being sold in single transactions, not to families, but to investment funds, converting them into long-term rentals. The everyday buyer is gone, replaced by an algorithm that sees your neighborhood as a spreadsheet. That's the quiet transfer of ownership happening across London right now, from the individual to the institution, from the homeowner to the hedge fund. And what happens when transactions freeze? You don't get visible chaos. You get quiet decay. Developers delay projects. Agents close offices. Homeowners stare at properties they can't sell and mortgages they can't refinance. It's not dramatic, it's terminally slow. And the mayor knows it, In that leaked meeting, he reportedly admitted, "We don't have a crash problem. We have a liquidity problem." Buyers have lost faith in the system. London has always loved its cranes, the sign of a city that never stopped growing. But if you look up now, they're not moving. The city isn't just facing a slowdown, it's facing a construction collapse. Between 2014 and 2019, London was delivering an average of $38,000 new homes per year. By 2025, that number has plunged below $20,000. In some boroughs, not a single new housing start has been recorded in months. The cause is a toxic cocktail of soaring material costs, broken financing chains, and evaporating investor confidence. Steel prices have jumped over $30% since 2021. Labor costs have surged as thousands of construction workers left the UK post-Brexit. And while costs went up, demand went down. Developers who used to pre-sell $70% of units before construction can now barely shift $20%. Banks see that and pull funding, leading to a death spiral in slow motion. Barclay Group, one of London's largest developers, publicly warned that the capital's housing output is heading toward its lowest level in 16 years. But insiders tell a darker story. According to leaked emails from a major construction lender, some developers are intentionally delaying completions, holding unfinished buildings hostage until prices recover. They'd rather leave a half-built tower standing still than risk flooding the market with unsellable flats. That's not strategy. That's desperation. Meanwhile, the city's mid-sized developers, the ones who actually build affordable housing, are being wiped out. They operate on thin margins, and when pre-sales and predictable borrowing costs vanish, they can't survive. More than 60 small and mid-tier builders have filed for administration since 2023, leaving behind empty lots and half-dug foundations. So, what are the big players doing instead? They're turning away from selling to individuals altogether and converting projects into build-to-rent models. Entire blocks are owned by corporations and rented out for steady income instead of sold to families. In 2022, fewer than $20% of new build flats in London were rental stock. In 2025, that number is approaching $50%. That means half of London's new homes will never be owned by the people who live in them. They'll be owned by funds, pension companies, and private equity giants, the same institutions quietly preparing to scoop up distressed assets. The mayor reportedly admitted developers are withholding inventory and converting to rentals to protect price floors. But that protection comes at a price. When homes stop being built for ownership, it kills mobility. Young Londoners can't buy. Families can't upgrade. The whole market locks up, frozen from every direction. So, what have we exposed? London's market wasn't killed by a single financial shock. It was a perfect, multi-front chain reaction. The exodus killed demand, the mortgage reset created a forced seller wave of unprecedented scale, the tax squeeze drove out investors and landlords, and the buyer strike froze transactions entirely. The final admission from City Hall sums it up: we don't have a crash problem. We have a liquidity problem. Buyers have lost faith in the system. This isn't a reset, it's a reckoning, a correction after 15 years of cheap money and blind faith. A crash still moves money, but a freeze kills it entirely, guaranteeing a slow, painful bleed. The dark reality is this: as the individual homeowner is being forced out by debt and taxes, the financial giants are quietly moving in. It's a wealth transfer in slow motion. The real question is, as the institutions begin to claim the wreckage, will ordinary Londoners ever be able to buy their city back?